I check in to see if my values have changed, because they do. Values change because you change, your life changes, your priorities change. Totally normal. So if you've done values work in the past, you're like, well, I know my values and they're like X, Y, and Z. They are charity and honesty and contribution or something. Okay, cool. Good chance that some of those might still be here. There's a chance that they might have evolved and you realize that charity actually has turned into like compassion, and you honor that through, charity or giving back. So there's a lot of different ways that they can change and evolve, and they also can just be totally new values. So that's why it's so important to not just set them and forget them, but to be in a constant relationship with your values and how your life is orienting around them, so that you can kind of understand that as your life is changing, as your priorities change, your beliefs change, your needs change, you're understanding how your values are aligning to that. So to define them a little further, your values are your core beliefs and like the guiding principles that inform your life. And often when we don't know them, like they're doing that work anyways. But if you're not intentional to know what they are and the role that they're playing, there's a good chance that you aren't living as in alignment with your values, meaning you're making decisions or surrounding yourself with people and situations that are counterproductive or misaligned or dishonoring what is most important to you, to those guiding principles and those core beliefs. And that's where that can be a cause of a ton of tension and unhappiness and frustration and unfulfilled. Like all of that can come from misalignment in values with the environments that you're in, the jobs that you're working, the partners that you have, the friendships that you're in, the relationships with others, or just the decisions you're making for yourself. And that's one of the biggest ahas I see when starting to name and identify values with, clients and leaders, is that they're like, oh, that's why this is so difficult. Okay, that's why I'm so unhappy. Oh, that's why I leave depleted from my energy every single day. It like unlocks these ahas of self-understanding. And then you're able to take back control and you're able to say, okay, so if I'm working for someone that dishonors my value of transparency, how can I still honor it? Like, what can I do now? Now that I understand the cause of this, why this is so important to me, why this is such a big effect on me, what can I do? Or in a different sense, oh, that's why this job feels so great compared to the last place I worked. Or that's why this partner or this friend feels so easy. Oh, that's why I love taking pottery classes or going for walks every day, because I value creativity so much. I didn't have that before. Nature is like the most important thing to me, and I wasn't prioritizing that. So it allows you to take greater control and make decisions that are putting you on a path to honor yourself and your needs and your beliefs so much more. But if you don't know them, if you don't have your compass, then what's guiding you, right? Like it goes to external forces guiding you. You're outsourcing what it is you think you need, you want. You're just living in a place of reactivity because you don't have the attention and the awareness that you need to be totally present, and understanding how the things around you are impacting you and how you are impacting the things around you. It's also important to know that your values are expressed in everything that you do. You express them in your words and your actions and your decisions. That's why the consciousness of them is so important, because you are constantly either turning yourself away or towards your values in every single thing that you do. So the more that you know them, the more that you can be actively trying to turn yourself towards your values, so you're feeling more aligned, more happy, more free, more confident, more proud of yourself, even in difficult moments. And when you're feeling a lot of friction with yourself, it could be that you're not living in alignment with your values and you're disappointed and you recognize it, but you don't know what's causing it. So the more you know them, the more you can understand when you take steps that are not aligned to your values. Like transparency is important to you. Being open is important to you, but you didn't have that hard conversation with your friend, or you haven't told them something that is important to you. You didn't stand up for yourself in some way and you're feeling really shitty about the situation. Well, you didn't really honor your value of being transparent and open. And that could be causing it. So now you get to decide what you want to do about it, right? So everything you're doing is an opportunity to honor your values, or potentially a chance where you're not. And that's important to understand too. So values are not your morals. Values are not aspirational, and you can't choose them. They are what is innate in you. So I want to talk a bit about what role they play? Why are they so important in self-leadership, in leading a team and leading yourself in your career? And the reason why I have found that values are one of like the greatest keys of unlocking like ahas in folks' leadership is because when you think about your leadership style and how you're showing up every day and leading yourself and wanting to lead others, it's all being driven by your values, whether you realize it or not. So your values help anchor your identity. So you understand really, as I mentioned, what's important to you, who are you, what defines you. Also in leadership, it can become a really clarifying decision-making lens. So if you're in a place where you have to make a hard decision, you can use your values to help you figure out how to move forward. So there's a client who, let's say your team made a mistake, okay, and on a piece of work for a client, and you don't know what to do. You could maybe not tell the client and get away with it. You guys are going to fix it and it's fine. Or you have to make a decision. Do we call the client? Do we own up to it? Maybe might make them pissed off and might take away some good faith. You don't know what to do. You have to make like this tough decision of how do you handle the situation. So you can use, all right, I'm going to use my value of integrity here as my lens. If I'm acting from a place of integrity of what it means to me, what would I do? Would I not call and just say, hey, let's fix it. I think we're fine. They'll never know. Let's not do it again. Or are you going to call them, own up to it, let them know what you're going to do, and then move forward? Most likely integrity, you're going to make the phone call, right? It helps you make decisions that are most aligned to what's important to you, and what's going to honor what you feel is the best way to walk through the world for yourself. So they are a leadership must-have. And I have seen it time and time again with the leaders I work with, also with myself. When I was in my most senior leadership position, when I started to go through coach training and learned values, and it was like this massive light bulb. I was working with one of the most difficult clients through values. At the time, a big value of mine or values was like respect and transparency were two of them, and empathy. And I was working with a client that I realized really was like very disrespectful in a lot of their actions. And I was constantly triggered and frustrated and like didn't know how to manage them. Didn't know how to guide my team. I was all over the place. I named that my value was respect. I understood, I'm constantly feeling disrespected by this client. And by being able to just name it and understand it, I was able to have conversations with my boss on how to handle it. I was able to determine how I wanted to respond, which I'm still going to treat them with respect. I realized that I could go to my team and like express things differently to them and respect my team and say how we are going to still show up with respect despite this situation. And even had different conversations with my clients about wanting to have more mutual respect. And also the other thing I learned with the value of transparency, I started to lean into that so hard. Talk about leadership branding. I was all about transparency. I called out when I was being transparent. I called out other people when they were not transparent. I just started to use it in my language, like in my vernacular all the time around transparency being important. And I remember my boss at the time was like, wow, you're one of the most, like, you are so consistent in what's important to you. And I'll never forget that because I'm like, oh shit, this works. This really works. And they became more transparent with me. And I got known for that. So it's really critical. But here is like a 101, okay? So first you want to start by getting super, super curious with yourself. Maybe just from like me talking and you hearing, you're like starting to pinpoint things that are important to you. But I love to start from a place of just like brainstorming and curiosity with these like thought-provoking questions. So asking yourself questions like, what are the beliefs that you hold most important? What brings you the most joy or contentment in your life? What are you willing to make sacrifices for? And even thinking about what frustrates you the most, right? So asking some of these questions of like, how do I like to spend my time? What are the situations or the environments that make me feel most alive and excited and accepted and happy or energized? What are the ones that don't? What are moments in my life where everything felt so aligned, okay? And as you go through and brainstorm and answer some of these questions, you can start to then collect the themes. So this is what I love to do when I'm working through this with other people is I like to pick out what am I hearing that is like continuing to pop up. I do want to encourage you to spend some time reflecting on those questions, getting super curious with yourself, looking into resources and other podcasts and books around values and what yours could be, thinking about how they impact how you show up and lead and communicate and build relationships with other people. And most importantly, observe. Observe if you start to name a value of honesty or empathy or authenticity, how does that show up for you? How do you notice that? Like, just be very curious and observant of yourself in your day-to-day life. And how often do you think you're actually honoring that for yourself? And how often do you realize that you're not? And that could be a source of something where you could try to put some energy to shift and take back control and try to live in a life more alignment with that value and see how that changes how you feel and how you walk through the world. So, and speak it. Tell people, as I said, live it, talk about it in leadership. If you want to be known for these things, then align not just your actions, but your words to them. And if you want to do this in partnership with someone, reach out. I would love nothing more than to work through your values with you and offer you greater resources and guidance and collaboration as you uncover this for yourself. But I wish you the same clarity and freedom and ahas and just like self-understanding that I got and that I see with clients all the time through values. So good luck, have fun, and I'll catch you next time. I think it's all